I'm going to share my screen and get things going. We're going to start off with some background that some of you may be aware of, so I'm going to move relatively quickly. When we post this to YouTube, I'll have links to all the other videos that we've done on these specific topics if you want to go deeper on these. So I'll start out with a quick intro to Acala, a quick introduction to what the Akala Treasury is and how it operates, and then Betty will spend the bulk of the time talking about Build Akala Ready, the Treasury, which is what I know most of you are here for. So Acala is the DeFi hub of Polkadot, built by these four individuals, our co-founders. So Rui Tao, Betty, and Brian are all based in Auckland, New Zealand. Brian being our more technical person, and then Betty and Rui Tao kind of spread across technical, product, kind of everything. And then we have Fuyao also. He's based in Shanghai, China, and also the co-founder of PokeWallet. Acala is backed by many different funds who have helped us kind of get to where we are, including Coinbase, DCG, Polychain, Pantera, and many others on the screen and not included on the screen. What Acala is two things. We're an application platform similar to Ethereum, Solana, all these other layer 1 chains, and we've also built our own applications on top of Acala. So here's a screenshot of what the apps look like. The testnet's currently live at apps.acala.network if you want to play around with it with no value. And Karura, our experimental network, is also live with real value at apps.karura.network if you want to play around with that. As I mentioned, so we're a layer 1 chain connecting to Polkadot. Later this year, we'll do a crowd loan, and that will help us to kind of secure that spot on Polkadot. We have all these DeFi products built into the blockchain itself, including an EVM. So the Acala EVM can host any Solidity smart contract. Basically, any application from Ethereum can come over and operate within Acala's kind of universe. And then on top, of course, we have all the applications that we've built for borrowing, for liquid staking, for swapping, and so on. So our four key products are the Acala Dollar, our stablecoin, liquid dot staking, or LDOT, the Acala Swap, or our automated market maker decentralized exchange, and the fourth one, which is most important to this call, which is the Akala Treasury. And that leads me into this. So I'm going to give a quick background on the Treasury, and then Betty will talk to you about this event that's going to help us fund the Treasury and help ensure the network has kind of a long-term sustainability and growth. The Treasury, what it is, it's ultimately a on-chain reserve of digital tokens that everyone who is a token holder is a part of. We all co-own it, we all co-manage and co-operate the Akala Treasury. It's not owned or operated by any one person or any entity. The Akala Treasury is going to be made up of many different tokens. So, of course, the native token of Akala, ACA. It'll also be holding DOT, which is involved in the event that we're going to be discussing today. And it's also funded ongoing through Akala's protocol fees. So if you've used other DeFi applications and you see a fee when you're going to hit the transaction, part of that fee is going into the Akala Treasury over time. The two main goals of the Treasury are to enable our self-sustainability, and then also to give us a kind of a pot of funds to enable us to invest from the Treasury into the growth of the network. This could be technical work, this could be marketing work, community. We'll see what people propose down the road and what gets funded. When I refer to self-sustainability, what I'm referring to is Acala has the need to participate in parachain auctions on Polkadot to secure one of these slots. So if we want a slot on Polkadot, we have to bid for that slot, and we have to have either the backing of our community through a crowd loan or another source of funds, which in our case will be the Treasury. So for the future parachain slots, the first one that's happening hopefully soon will be funded by a community-backed crowd loan. The second auction, we hope to back by kind of a combination of a crowd loan and our own Treasury contributing to that crowd loan. And then the third option is to self-fund. So we could actually bid for an auction in the future only from the Akala Treasury. And that's laid out here. So over time, after our first slot expires, we're going to have a choice. We have a choice to either use a crowd loan, like I mentioned. We have the choice to use a hybrid approach of doing a crowd loan and funding it from our treasury, or we can self-fund it. So we hope to have first auction, hopefully this year, done in a crowd loan, second option done in a hybrid model, and then the third option, we expect this to most likely be the case, but of course anything could change. And then over time, as the treasury builds and builds, it'll get big enough to where we can, every couple of years, be renewing that slot as we go. So these are the two ways that the treasury is funded. The protocol and network fees include things like liquidation fees from the stablecoin, transaction fees from the DEX, but this is gonna be acquired and built up a little bit more slowly over time compared to other options. And that's why we decided to do one Build Acala event, which already happened, and then that's really what's leading us to this more major event, which is the Ready the Treasury event. Everything that's contributed from the community in this event will be converted to DOT and put into the on-chain treasury, so it's owned and managed by all of us. So now I'm going to pass it over to Betty to get into all the details that I know you guys are here for. So take it over, Betty.
Cool. Thanks. Let me share a screen. Cool. Everyone can see my screen?
Yep.
Cool. 100%. Right. So yeah. So welcome everyone. So the topic today is Build Acala Ready the Treasury, and as Dan mentioned, we put a lot of thought into how our token economic will work, and also the more important thing is the longevity of the Acala network, because it's one thing that you can launch dramatically very successfully, but that's another thing that you can actually self-sustain for the foreseeable future. And then in the Polkadot ecosystem, there's always this parachain slot that we have to come up with funding and then be able to secure the slot to be operational. And then one thing, I don't know if everyone actually realized by this point, is our Akala dollar, our Akala token is actually fixed supply. That is a very dramatic difference because with a fixed supply, we would not be printing inflationary tokens to pay for a lot of stuff that you are very familiar with. So for example, we won't be printing ACA to support our crowd loan. Every token that you get in a crowd loan is from the fixed supply. It is what it is. It is like Bitcoin. There's only 1 billion ACA tokens there. Yeah, so if we use one token, and that's one token. So that's why we are very careful of how we plan to use those tokens to reward the community, and also at the same time make sure Akala will continue to exist for the foreseeable future. And this is our plan that we come up with. And before we get into details, let me just kind of walk you through the events that are happening or has happened and will be happening. So a while ago, I think in April, that we've done the Build Acala 1. I will briefly go over that so that people who have no idea what I'm talking about will have an idea of what has happened. And that is more of a proof of concept. So it's like our Canary network. We have a Canary Build Acala event just to test if our idea works, and also how the community feedback to us. So that was a very small event, happened very quickly in April. And then of course, after that, many of you have been involved in the process of launching Karura. Well, firstly, helping us to actually get a crowdfunded parachain slot on Kusama. And then, we've gone through the process of launching, quite chaotic, I would say. And now we are in the liquidity mining program phase where more listing pairs, and also the Karura dollar is out. And then hopefully in the next few weeks, the liquid staking will come out. And also we're working with other parachain projects to also list their products. So there's a whole bunch of things happening on the top here. But of course, today's limelight is the Build Acala 2 program that you are here for. And I'll go into detail for what is going to happen. So firstly, I'll actually just like be very straightforward to you what this event involved. So in this event, all the funding that we raise, either it's directly in DOT, or we are converting all the proceeds into DOT, and they will be kind of like donated or contributed on chain to the Akala Treasury once Akala is launched. So if we are doing an event that we are fundraising from you and then use for our foundation, like paying for expenses, we will tell you very strictly in your face that's what we are doing. And for this event, we're also telling you very strict that all the proceeds from the event is to fund the Akala Treasury so that we can probably hybrid fund our next crowd loan, and also for the third crowd loan, we can be self-sustainable forever on the Polkadot ecosystem, and then so to assure that all the Akala community members can continuously, operate using the Akala network, and also all the ecosystem projects that build on top of Akala will have a very predictable future, right? So I think that's very, very important when we think, long term. And yeah, so throughout this event, you'll see the details. In return, yes, you do get both AC and KR. I know it's very unusual for once the network launched, we still give out the token. But yeah, so we won't so we won't sell the KR, but always a gift to the ACA holders, so that you can help us also to try things out on the Karura network. At the same time, support us for the Akala launch and building. So that's the high level, what we take and what you get in return. And obviously, DOT is not the only accepted payments, but I'll go into details later. So there is also ETH this time, and also USDC, USDT stablecoin as well, taking on the feedback from the community last time. So that's the high level. But let's go into some bigger questions of why build Akala 1. So there's a number of reasons. One is the existential need from the Akala network. So as I mentioned, with a fixed token supply, the way that we have planned, so this is already laid out in one of our white paper, how we become self-sustainable is through funding the on-chain treasury with DOT, so that it can actually trustlessly bid for a parachain slot, and also bootstrap its liquidity. So this is going to be really cool. Of course, the very first Akala crowd loan is going to be crowdsourced, and also through the crowdfunding, the same way as Karura, because we see that as a major token distribution event for all of you here. So, however, for the second slot, this is where more we planning what happened after 2 years once the slot lease expires. Is we use this Akala treasury funding to be able to trustlessly bid for the parachain slot and continue operation after our first lease ends. So that's one major reason. And then the second major reason is we have received many community feedback. To be fair, this is not an event that is suitable for everyone, same as crowd loan. So we recognize, many people may not, for whatever reason, participate in crowd loan. So they would like to have another way to be able to participate in Akala, and also holding the AC, to continue to store the network, and also participate in some of the activities on Akala. So then, this is one event kills two birds. We can also satisfy many of the community members' needs. So those are the two sort of top level reasons why we kind of take so much effort to do this. So it actually takes a lot of work, and also it's not. We would rather do something trustless, but we understand there's a lot of different requirements and needs from the community. So we try to do our best to be able to provide for that. And then Build Akala 1 happened in April. It is a long time ago. It's exactly actually 4 months ago. We from the count audit that we've done, we've given out that much ACA, and then also as a gift token, every 10 ACA you get 1 KR. Well, the two has a 10 to 1 total supply ratio as well. So that's why the difference there. But you basically, if you get 1% ACA, you also get 1% KR. And then with the 12,000 also verified users, 5,600 plus be able to participate. So yeah, so that is an extremely high ratio, as we were told, to be able to participate. Like plus more than 60% of people that are able to participate after they verify. But still, you know, we recognize when I say this, there are 4,000 or 5,000 people like couldn't participate, right? So there's always, you know, the two sides of it. So we recognize that also. And then there are 260,000 DOT has been raised. So currently it's sitting at the foundation account. So we also have a page where it outlines where the DOT is at. And also all of those will be contributed to on-chain treasury once Acala is live, and you are able to track all the movements of those, right? Yeah, and we didn't do any marketing back then, but this time we're a little bit more sort of organized, and then be able to do an AMA like this. Last time was really kind of like a test and a bit of rush. So yes, as I said, it is a proof of concept, and then yeah, we've taken a lot of community feedback, and also yeah, so this is sort of the reason why. And then for the Build 2 event, it's more so a scale up of the Build Acala 1 to actually really be able to, in 2 years' time, self-fund Acala. So that's really a goal. And the second thing is we've taken in some community feedback. For example, you know, we're gonna you know, allow people who's verified in Build Acala 1 but couldn't participate to be, you know, able to join this event, and also include some of our old friends, and I'll show you how we define old friends, and also open up the event to wider community as well. So that's why there are two phases, which I will go into detail. Yeah, and then so hopefully this will be an event that's going to ensure our long-term sustainability of the network. So, well, again, this is something that we have to do it together to see if we can pull it off. Right. So the specifics. The Build Acala event, there's registration. So this time we're giving out exact dates. So if you have travel plans, or you know, if you have to work, at least you know it in advance, the exact date and time, so you can plan your time. And then the registration will open on the 15th. This is all UTC time, 1 p.m. And then yeah, so and then once that's open, once I walk through the criteria, if you think you qualified, from now to 15th, I think you still have 2 or 3 days to go through all the guides that we provide to make sure that you understand what information you need to submit, and also prepare yourself for the event if you really want to participate, right? And then just like jump on to the registration as soon as it opens, basically. And then there's a big gap in between registration and then also the event itself. So you know, you don't need to stress right now. So yeah, so the actual event starts on the 30th, and then there's 2 phases. Phase 1 or round 1 is the old friends round. It lasts for 2 days. This is a guaranteed allocation round, so that we can basically based on the feedback, so that we can actually allocate a small amount for individuals who qualify, you know, for this round. And then we open up the entire round to all our community members. Obviously, they still have to meet the verification requirement. And then that happens on the 2nd. So there's like a 1 day gap in between the two. So hopefully the process will be more zen, and also less chaotic, and everyone will be able to have time to plan. And of course, we anticipate, you know, a high volume for the event. So in between, there's going to be quite messy in terms of how many verification that our provider needs to process. So I think there's a cutoff time of 24th in here as a time that you need to submit all the required information. But I'll go into that detail once we get there. So this is the overall picture. You know the dates, you know the time. Yeah. So if you want to participate and you've checked you think you're qualified, then yeah. So get ready for it. Yeah, so these are the details. So firstly, it's the registration. You know the date, and then you just like need to get onto the website and then sign up. And also, once you sign up, you just need to submit all the verification documentations and also details before 24th of August. Just like plenty of time for you to do it. The reason there's a gap, there's a plenty of time is many people rushing this process and they misspell their names, and then they kind of put in the wrong birthday, and then they put up a wrong document, and then it kind of just like failed them through the process, because most, like everything that's submitted, it's going to go through automatic process, right? So if you don't put in the right information, the computer is not going to have much empathy in kind of like checking all the details for you. And then after that, if you actually failed through the automatic process, there is a manual verification process. So that is going to take a long time, because basically a real person sitting behind a computer screen is verifying your detail. And also because of this time, probably a high volume, you may only get one shot in terms of submitting the right information, and then getting through the verification. So yeah, so this is basically us, reminding you, like, just double check before submission. Hopefully we've given you enough warning and also guidance, so you are able to prepare. Yeah. And then to qualify for round one, you are either maybe I'll just go here. To qualify round one, you are either a Akala old friend NFT holder, or you are a Build One verified user who did not participate. So if you participated in Build One already, then you can participate in the open community round. Not for this round. This round is more retrospectively kind of accommodate for those who missed the Build One event, even though they're verified and qualified. So yeah. So but for the round one though, it is 2 days. It is a Zen event, so it's guaranteed allocation. So there's no rush. There's no queue. But of course, it's a very relatively low cap, because we have to accommodate such a large community. So I hope you understand there's a low cap for everyone, but at least you guarantee allocation if you qualify, and also you don't need to queue, right? But at the same time, we're also putting a lot of effort into the open community round, taking the feedback. So everyone can actually join the open community round as long as you are verified. And then you not only are able to pay in DOT, we are getting rid of BTC. Apparently that caused a lot of people trouble, and also caused us a lot of trouble. But you are able to use ETH and also USDC, USDT, the ERC20 version of it. And also you'll be able to have a higher cap, but of course vesting will apply for the token. So those are the 2 rounds that are there. But obviously I'm very high level on what is going to happen. There's a lot more detail that we've put out, so you can actually read it in the next few days to make sure you understand. Yeah, so one thing I want to actually show you is this page here, the info.akala.network. Overall, this will be our main source of communication in terms of detailed information. And then we split out the welcome page, and then this page will be where we sort of put up the latest event information or things that you will need to be aware of. So right now, when you land on it, you see, as basically the advertisement for this event. So this is the latest thing you should be aware of. It also has links to the key pages that you should pay attention to. If you didn't get exactly what we talked about, in terms of why we do build Akala, and also maybe some of you are very new, you could come on here to actually read a little bit more about Akala's history. I think it's been 2 years or more than that since we started the first commit into our GitHub repo in Acala. So it's been a long journey. So if you want to learn more about that, just come on that page. It kind of also outlines all the stuff that Dan mentioned. So he's got a nice video here to go over Treasury a bit more, because I don't know how many people actually get this, but this is a really, really cool thing that you have a trustless way on the blockchain, so that you can make the chain to be solvent, right? Imagine the chain is self-sustainably, in an economic way, so it can trustlessly bid for a parachain slot, so it can be there forever. And also governance-wise, it's also self-sustainable. It becomes a solvent, I don't want to say nation, but solvent blockchain. And then they can start interacting with various different other blockchains in a solvent way. And all the ACA network participants become a steward to kind of manage and also steward the network into the direction that collectively benefits everyone and also the network. So this is a really cool concept that we created. Hopefully over time, if you haven't got it today, but hopefully you get it over time, why this is so cool. But that's overall what the event is. And also there's a bit more information on the event detail. So I will actually encourage you, because this is the next thing that will happen is for registration. So I encourage you to actually read through all of this information, what is required. I think the team also done a really good job in terms of helping you to actually understand exactly what's required. So if you look at the participation guide there's actually a lot of information on what are the key steps, and then also some caveats. You need to check what sort of document you need to supply, so that to make sure that when you submit the most accurate information that you can, so you don't get tricked along the way. And then something that I want to just point out, is if you want to be qualified for round one, you need to understand what is required. Basically, you need to submit your OFRAN NFT information, and also have to complete the verification step. There's a lot more detail there, right? But in general, you need to kind of read through this and understand. So that's there's also FAQ as well. So there's plenty of resource to actually help you succeed. So that's our goal, is to help you succeed. And then I guess the last word that I will say before I return it back to Dan, also maybe go into some questions, is obviously, let me go back to the chart where we have the events, right? So obviously, this event is also not for everyone, right? So don't feel bad that either you're not qualified or you don't feel it's the right way for you, because the whole point is our community is very diverse, and also it's very global. And so there are various different type of events that have been planned, so that everyone in some way, one way or another, can participate if they feel their vision is aligned with Acala and Karura. Right. So so we really want to, kind of like build an inclusive community. So also just like be nice to each other, whether you want to participate or not. And this is just one small step again to actually help us all be successful in the long term. So I think that's all I want to say. And then I will just hand it back to Dan so we can go into more questions, I guess. So
Cool. We've got plenty of time for questions, and we've got, I think, 51 submitted. So I'm just going to start from the top, and we can see how many we can get through. So will Build Acala 2 be more expensive than Build Acala 1 in USD terms, since DOT has fallen around 50% since Build Acala 1?
Yeah, so we haven't released the DOT denominated price yet. There's a big gap between now and the actual event happen. So we'll probably release maybe a week or a few days before time. But I would say I'm doing a lot of sense checking in terms of how reasonable it is for the community. So I think it's going to be reasonable. And also, do take into account KR token is giving to you for free. Well, not for free, as a gift, so for free. Yeah. So and also Build Acala 1, Karura has not launched. Right now, Karura is live, operating with more. What today I checked is like more than 1,000 daily active accounts. So it's a different world, but we're trying to do it very fairly for everybody. Yeah.
Great. For those who passed KYC in April for the first event, will it be necessary to register on August 15th? The answer is no, you don't need to re-register. They also said, did I understand correctly that the allocation is guaranteed for people? So it's guaranteed for people who registered and went through the verification process for Build Acala 1, but did not get the chance to participate. Then you can participate in the first round. If you already did participate in the first Build Acala event, then you can participate in the second round.
Yeah, so go read the round 1 criteria. So
Yep.
Either you hold the O-Friend NFT or you are Build 1 verified but not participated user, then you can get into round 1 with guarantee. But of course, the allocation reasonably is like small, so that we have also allow other people to participate as well in the open round.
Will there be a token sale for Acala on CoinList?
At this point, no. So we're not fundraising for the foundation. So this is not a fundraising event for the foundation. If we need more runway for the foundation, for the developers, and for us paying salaries, we'll tell it straight that we're doing that. But we're not. So this event is more geared towards the treasury, and yeah. So.
This one we already answered about round 1. How many ACA per dot? These are all details that will come later, like Betty said. So all the caps, the prices, everything like that will be determined and disclosed at a later date. Will KAR tokens be distributed before ACA?
Yeah, so both KR, so for Build Acala 2, both KR and ACA token will be delivered on Acala mainnet launch when transfer enable. I think it wasn't very clear before. Only transfer enable is so-called mainnet launch. That's the sort of the nature of the Polkadot ecosystem.
Do loyal Karura members have opportunity to get Acala?
Yeah, so all the criteria outlined there, right? Yeah, so if you are if you're a community member, you can either just join the open round, or potentially you qualify for round 1, right? So then sure, yeah, just check the criteria.
For some reason, it says the United States is not allowed to participate, but we will be able to participate in the crowd loan, right?
Well, for the nature of this Build Acala event, you do need KYC to be done, and then this is all from a legal perspective. That's all the criteria. So we are very explicit on the website which countries are excluded. I'm sorry about that, and even myself is kind of excluded from New Zealand as well. So yeah, so that is just the reality. And one thing, like just a side topic there, is like the crypto industry is at a very early stage of growth. Any new technology will usually front run the government and regulation, and that's not the point of like trying to break the rules or trying to go anywhere. It's more of like we're very early, and then if folks actually follow what happened in the US for the infrastructure bill, that's a very good and positive sign there. The regulators and even senators, there's a lot of supporters for the crypto industry, and for us as builders inside the crypto industry, we need to be more open and also transparent, and also not intentionally trying to get around any regulation, but work in a way so that we can also educate and empower those folks who actually make the regulation, so that we can evolve into a better regulated world, right? Because regulation there is to protect individual users, but it's just lagging behind from the technology. So all I'm saying is hope you guys actually understand some of the decisions that we made, and we're not going that wild.
Yeah, and this is Jean's question. Just to follow up on your second part of your question, will the U.S. people be able to participate in the crowd loan? It'll be just the same as the Karura crowd loan. If you participated in that one, there will be terms and conditions that will include who can and cannot participate, and then based on your own kind of judgment, or if you have legal advice, then you can make your decision on whether or not you accept those terms and conditions. Will a similar event be happening? Any similar event will happen in the future if more liquidity is needed to keep securing a parachain. That's kind of what we were saying with the Treasury. So the whole purpose of this event is to get the Treasury to a point where it becomes self-sustainable for the future. So this Treasury will be funded by these Build Acala events, but then also, like we showed, all those protocol fees will be continuing to go into the Treasury and make it bigger and bigger over time. So that's the main goal of the Treasury. If we were to say there's one goal, it's to be able to self-fund those parachain slots. So that should answer your question.
Yeah. So, and also it's not the only way. If you watch Dan's presentation on Ready the Treasury, there are longer term ways, like the protocol is going to generate various different type of fees and network fees, and they will in a way to contribute to the Treasury as well. But that takes a long time. So I'll use Karura as an example. So far, because we need to bootstrap liquidity, we gave all of the stability fee that's supposed to go into Treasury to all the liquidity providers. So it's going to take us a long time to get to the point where we can self-sustain for a slot. So I have a chart here. So far, the Karura Treasury has generated 679K R, and I think that probably converts to a few hundred KSM. So I think it's going to take us 1,000 years to actually be able to secure a Kusama slot just by this speed. But as you know, we plan things for very long term. This is a more sustainable way, right? Because this is going to go on and autonomously forever. So in the long run, all of this networks of sort of self-generating contribution to the Treasury will be the long play. But in the short term, though, then we need a way to bootstrap and build Akala. It sort of seems to be a very good way to do that right now.
This next one asked how to participate. So the link info.akala.network is what you need for Sunday. Or that's actually the info page. On Sunday, it's the build.akala.network link. So both of those will be important. Is there any special opportunity for Karura liquidity providers in Build Akala 2? So this is a kind of a repeat, so just go back to the info page and check out the criteria. But the short answer is there's nothing specifically for Karura LPs. Another repeat question about KYC and verification from the last sale. So if you went through KYC in the last one and did not participate, then you're good to go for round one. Is it possible to purchase an NFT from someone for option one?
I don't know. The NFT Ofran or Mandala is not transferable. So Yeah, that's all I can say.
Yep. Good question. How many old friends were there?
I think that's about 20,000. So yeah, so a word on the old friend NFT. I think there's a link somewhere that kind of like shows all the criterias. But that's basically since we ever started 2019 and all the way through 2020, 2021. So prior to that, there's a whole bunch of folks like operates on the free testnet and then tried out our products and provided a lot of like feedback. And that is like one of the reason and the strengths of the Akala community is a lot of those folks actually helped us at the beginning when we are very humbly a very tiny team, a very unknown project, only like focus on tech. So that's why the and then those NFT were awarded in the beginning of 2021 to retrospectively airdrop those folks. So they come in without knowing they are getting the NFT. So again, that's a lot of thinking going behind what we do. A lot of things is try not to incentivize so that people just like go in to play a game, click a button just because this airdrop, right? So I think that you incentivize the wrong behavior, and then as soon as you stop the incentive, people just go away, and they couldn't even think whether they actually need the product or not, and then we don't know either. So that's bad for both sides. So we're here to actually build a product that's going to be useful. So we need to know whether it's useful before all the crazy incentives be put on top. So, but at least that's how we think about things, and yeah, hopefully you understand. Yeah.
I participated in build 1, but my verification failed. Can I participate in round 1 of the build Akala 2?
Yeah, if your KYC is failed, it will stay as failed. But if your KYC status or verification status is still open, or you need extra information, as soon as the registration opens, you are able to log on and provide new information. So I think what we were told was normally in the other sort of projects events like this, for people who couldn't actually complete their verification process, or somehow they have to go into manual review, which usually means they put something wrong into their details. They will just be failed straight away, and then will lose the opportunity to participate in future events. But they made an exception for us, so that all of these people, you can probably see and log in and see your status is either new or under review or something like that, which means you are given a second chance when the registration open for Build Akala 2, so you can resubmit all the information. But of course, if you submit exactly the same information, you're gonna be failed again. So like just go and read the participation guide. So then we'll try to help you succeed. So it's just like go and read and make sure you submit the right information.
This question's around, are there any plans to migrate liquidity from Karura to Acala and vice versa, or from other blockchains via bridges?
Yeah, sure. So the goal for Acala is to be a global network, right? Because when we say multi-chain, we never mean multi-parachain. Multi-parachain is a given. And we actually mean multiple different type of blockchain. So that's why you can see on our roadmap the Ethereum bridge and also Bitcoin bridge, and also planned other bridges will be launched on Acala, and also probably also trialed on Karura as well, so that we can have a global sort of liquidity floating into Acala, so that then we can actually really achieve what we want to achieve, right? Because with all those assets and also TVLs, then we can actually bootstrap a really high quality Acala dollar, like a decentralized stable coin that's actually very much in high demand globally and in various different use cases. So yeah, so certainly that's very important for us. And then when we say multi-blockchain, and obviously from a Polkadot perspective, Kusama is also a blockchain, and there's a bridge being built between Kusama and Polkadot, and that is going to become very interesting. So it's almost like New York has a sort of a free trade agreement with I don't know, Hong Kong or Singapore, right? And once the bridge is built, then you will see foreign trade, the trade between Kusama, Karura, and Acala all go between each other. Yeah, and in terms of the dynamics, I don't know. Like I think once the protocols becomes more self-sustainable, then it will take a life of its own. Right now, you probably, right now, because most of the protocols are still in training wheels, so we are keeping a close eye, and it's launched in a way that we imagined, or in a white paper that how it's going to be launched. So it has a little differentiation, but as soon as it becomes self-sustainable, then you will start to see they are powering itself, and then also different type of collaterals and also tokens will be accepted and listed in 2 different platforms, right? So NFTs will more go into Karura, and then or I guess blue chip assets will go into Acala. But I don't know. Once it's self-sustaining, then I think the community and also the way that the 2 network operates will start to deviate. You can probably see similar things for Kusama and Polkadot right now. So yeah. So last night I talked to someone who's just like purely a Kusama fan and have no interest in Polkadot, and vice versa. There are other folks vice versa, right? So they all have their own place to exist. Yeah.
Okay, so this question is, will Akala old friends have guaranteed allocation in round 1 if they also participated in Build Akala 1?
No. So if you have participated already in Build 1, you've already had your fair share. So yeah, you can't participate in round 1. But for round 2, it's open for everyone. So you can still participate in round 2.
Okay. Oh, good question. Will round 1 of build 2, could round 1 take up all the tokens available before the end so that people in round 2 cannot participate?
Highly unlikely.
Isn't it impossible?
Yeah, very, very unlikely, because for the provision that we have, yeah, you're gonna go into round 2. Yeah.
Okay. If I contribute with DOT, can I do it from a centralized exchange such as Binance?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, yeah. So for the payment, yeah, we haven't put all of those information up because there's still some time in between. Try not to confuse everyone. But briefly, the dot payment process, you can pay from anywhere, like from a dot wallet or from exchange. And then for the ETH and ERC20 stablecoins, the platform actually integrated with MetaMask this time. So it's going to be relatively easy for us and also for the users as well. So yeah. Yeah, and also for dot payments, there's no integrated sort of wallet, but yeah, you can pay from any like dot wallets, like Polkadot.js or anywhere. But yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to find a question that we should answer. Okay, I think we can wrap it up. All the questions in here are repeats.
I'll just answer one question, not Bill Akala related, but something that I care. Security. Someone asked about security and also the recent hacks. I think there's a high profile hack from a multi-chain sort of swap protocol. I think that's sort of the judgment you make, right? You could easily put up some sort of piece of software and then acquire a whole bunch of TVLs, but also at the same time, if something goes wrong, many protocols don't survive and they disappear, and then some of them are able to come back with a lot of soul searching and also redoing a lot of those infrastructure. So so I think when you participate, you got to think about those two aspects, right? So almost it's like there's no free lunch type of thinking. What are you giving up? What's the risk appetite you have? And then from our perspective, I think also as Polkadot in general, that's why Kusama exists. I mean, I know there's a lot of Kusama enthusiasts or community members think Kusama is like a very on its own. It's already over 18. It's going out to the world on its own. But at the same time, Polkadot in the foreseeable future is always going to treat Kusama as a canary network, because that's one of the major benefits having this type of ecosystem, that you are able to verify stuff on a valued testnet. And you can do both, right? You can be a canary and you can have a life of your own. So the same thing happened on Acala and Karura. So before Karura launch, we have completed 4 audits. One actually completed early this year, the other like last year. So we've completed 4 audits before we launched Karura. But the fact is, once we've launched, there are code changes as well that we made straight away that without audit on Karura, right? So I made that very clean and clear. So on our website, you can see everywhere that we try to say it's unaudited. So it's not like everything is not audited. It's like there are a lot of delta changes that hasn't been audited, but we need to kind of like change and evolve very fast on Karura so that we can fix things and also improve there. However, any of those changes that want to go into Akala, it has to go back into the process to be audited and to be verified. But that's only the code security side of it. There's also economic security side of it. Is your economic design sound? Is there attack factors and things like that? So right now, we have incorporated one partner. Probably there will be other partners in the future. So Gang-led network. So they do economic assessment and risk assessment for folks like Compound, MakerDAO, and some other quite well-known projects on Ethereum. And we are literally the first project outside of the Ethereum community that they put their hands on to build the assessment platform. So they are live tracking. Currently, they are assessing Karura. So they are live tracking KSM activities and also the Karura platform activities. So we know how volatile KSM is and also how that affects the entire economics of Karura. And yeah, so we try to have folks that are experts in the area to be able to provide a different perspective than just us who's building the protocol. But of course, with all the stuff that we do, I still cannot say it's 100% that it's 100% safe. So we just have to be very careful in every step that we move forward, and also be able to surround ourselves with sort of good the security and risk partners to help us along. So that's that. I think for Akala, security is the main concern. I think that's also why I know some people complain Polkadot is so slow, but if you understand whose eyes are on Polkadot, then you will understand a lot of our institutions and also larger organizations, they actually want to use Polkadot, but if Polkadot evolve so quickly and then it's not audited, a lot of folks are not happy to actually take that risk. So I think that's why the two are so different in terms of how they launch and then how they operate. Sorry, it took a while for me to explain that.
That's all good. I've just been answering questions as you're going.
Oh, cool.
So this is actually perfect timing. We're 2 minutes until the top of the hour. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to come listen. And we thank you in advance for all of your support, whether it's in the past or in the future. And let us know. We're always watching our Discord channel. There's plenty of people there to help answer any questions you have. So feel free to come ask questions in the Discord as we go throughout this process. We're going to be keeping you updated with kind of webinars like this, as well as updates on Twitter and in the Discord. And yeah, we hope you guys have a good day or a good night wherever you are.